Hey there folks, rinimt here, and welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. In the last part, we made the Sharlayan, took a nice little boat ride, a little callback to FF14 1.0 with that. Yeah, so Endwalker is going to be very full of callbacks to the previous expansions, base game 1.0, with that boat being the 1.0 bit. It's referring to the old entrance to Labyrinthos cutscene from 1.0. So, anyways, I am not in the annex right now because I left to listen to the music outside. So getting tired of the music in there. And I know there were some quests, specifically 2 key ones. I am going to be ignoring side quests until the end for Endwalker. I just want to focus on the story, really, for this one. And we'll do side quests later. Except for getting currents, because currents are good. I'll get currents from side quests, and that's basically it. And obviously hunts and sightseeing. So we'll hunt for specimens. Do my eyes deceive me? Are you Arya Ariana? Well, as I live and breathe, it is you. I knew I'd be the first to track you down. Who's the guild ship's top hunter now, eh? Wait, you have heard of guild ship hunts, yes? They're not so different from the hunts you're familiar with in the Eorzea. As I understand it, I wager they're more challenging, but an adventurer of your caliber would never turn down a challenge, would you? No, you would not. Pray speak with Northoda with a peristyle to register your interest at your earliest convenience. Okay. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and unlock hunts here right quick like. Just so I can, you know, start popping that XP onto the other jobs. Oh. I'm Northoda. Have you come to place a bounty on unruly beasts? Why, the scholar, you're Arya? I was half convinced I'd sent the others an impossible task, asking them to find you. Gleaner's guild ship has begun posting hunt bills, you see, in the hopes that capable individuals will take up arms to lighten our ever-increasing load. Fortunately, capable individuals remained the sticking point. Few hailing from our fair polis are willing to take up arms, let alone able to stand against the more fearsome specimens. You, however, have the experience and the grit that we need. When I heard that you arrived on our shores, it was music to my ears. The work for free, of course. We've done our research, and the reward we offer are as fine as any you'll find abroad. The currency you employ is a relic of times when a gleaner was a great deal less figurative. So you may find it somewhat eccentric, but it's as good as Gil here. Speaking of eccentric, you should be noted that the majority of our clients are scholars. You probably won't have heard of half of the creatures they send you after, but it's best not to worry about that overmuch. Slay bees, collect samples, try not to think about the long-term effects of touching said samples, get paid! Simple, no? That being said, I wouldn't dream of throwing you in the deep end just yet. Let's hope you start off with some junior marks so you can get your feet wet. Alright. So basically they're like, oh, it's a old style eccentric currency because it's nuts. So it's the same currency as Shadowbringers. I guess that was their excuse to try and make it so that, you know, oh yeah, it's fine. It's just the same currency. It's just a bit eccentric. Anyway, we have one other trip to make. It's gonna be all the way to the end of this pier. If you want to go back to Limsa, you can take the ferry right there. Or, I mean, you could just teleport too, but... Let's go ahead. Head down here. When I originally played through Endwalker, I actually didn't find this guy for a long time. So I didn't unlock these for... So probably about level 85 or so. So, beg pardon, good madam. I could scarce help but notice it sightseeing like on your person. You wouldn't happen to be the adventurer my niece wrote about, would you? Aha, so it is you. Pleased to make your acquaintance. I'm Babeth Ironheart, Millis' aunt and a seasoned explorer. Be a dear and hand me the log of yours. Mel told me all about how she helped you embark on explorations of your own, so it's only right that I share with you some wisdom of my own. Let me see here. Oh, I can't forget to mention that. And done. You should be all set, dear. I've jotted down everything I've heard about the most remarkable vistas the realm has to offer. Of course, a few notes I've shared are not more than rumors, some describing locales so fantastical that I can barely believe they exist. So say the true joy of exploration lies not in the destination, but in the journey. So go forth, dear, and see what sort of journey these hints take you on. That sightseeing log of yours won't fill itself, you know. So sightseeing log expanded, we get the Endwalker sightseeing log. Must be level 80 to record them, of course. 0 wits and notes, and you know, find them all. I'm not going over names just because, you know, technically I probably should have done the split path first. But you know, details. Anyway, with that little sidetrack out of the way, hitting the books. An unsettling change has come over Sharlayan, but together we will divine the underlying cause for the forum's callousness. As I mentioned before, however, questioning counselors directly is a fruitless endeavor. They seem to have already come to a consensus as to what and how little they are willing to divulge. Which is why I began scouring Sharlayan's archive of historical records for any hint of a connection to the final days. Suffice it to say that progress has been slow. There are only so many dusty pages one can skim in a day. But now that I have this band of willing and reinforcements, the search should proceed all the swifter. Let's reconvene outside Numenon, shall we? Look to the annex to the right and you'll find the archives on the western edge of the woods. Cool, so let's go ahead and head there. I am going to be doing this path first. It just makes a little bit more sense in terms of the story. I've done other things. I guess stuff like Heaven's Word, I kind of just was like, yeah, we'll do this one first. Shadowbringers was a little more planned. And Stormflood was like yeah, whatever. Shadowbringers was a little more planned just because of story-based stuff. You know, doing Meringue second because it just made more sense going to Holminster and all of that. And it's gonna be sort of the same deal here. I'm doing this first because it just makes more sense. So I'm actually not. Remember though. Hopefully remember. Oh my gosh, on this Fist of Wind. Not the Fist of Wind, have it. No, sorry. No, we're already here. I'll go back for it. My directions were easy enough to follow, I hope. In any case, you stand now before the doors of Numenon, Sharlayan's grandest collection of books and tomes. This building is actually only an entrance, and one of many at that, for the archives of Numenon extend deep beneath the surface like the roots of a tree. Vast halls of the Great Google Library pale in comparison to Numenon's endless maze of subterranean chambers. Any citizen of Sharlayan is free to enter and peruse its shelves. Well, most of its shelves. Only Archons are afforded access to certain restricted vaults. I've dispatched Tola and Raha to investigate those. Meanwhile, Alize and Alphino will help me continue my search through the stacks open to the general public. This task presents more of a problem. As a non-citizen, you are only permitted to browse the first floor here at the entrance. Even so, there should be a number of books which touch upon Sharlayan history or foreign policy. Your task will be to find and study the relevant publications. I promise you, a working knowledge of those subjects will make it far easier to spot the sort of clues we're looking for. Let's be about it, shall we? I told the others to meet us at the stone benches over there once they found some promising tomes. Happy reading! Oh boy. My favorite thing. Books. Alright. So first things first. Let's pop on another job. Sightseeing log. It's right here to the right in the library. Or the Numenon library. I mean, like, really. It's a library. Gosh dang it. Anyway, I guess we'll go around this way. The Phaetal Spine reads Stewards of Wisdom. Read the book? Obviously. During the chaos of the Sixth Umbral Calamity, Archon Neumkrep, founder of Sharlayan, bore witness to the madness and savagery of men brought to the brink of despair. Upon raising a settlement on an island in northern Empty, he instructed his people thus. renounce the ways of war, and pursue enlightenment through knowledge and reason. The Sharlayans took to heart the words of their savior, and thenceforth served as stewards of wisdom. Upon a foundation of accumulated learning, they built a homeland unlike any other, a nation born from strength of minds rather than strength of arms. With knowledge of economics came shrewd trading. With knowledge of agriculture came bountiful crops. Engineering brought wells and sewers, ending squabbles over water. The wealth of expertise could be bartered for wealth and coin. While the more their wisdom spread throughout the world, the more mankind as a whole would thrive. And so it was that no matter the trials and tribulations of the age, the citizens of Sharlayan would live by their founders' teachings. For the sake of a better tomorrow, for the sake of a brighter star, they would eschew the tools of war and with knowledge deliver the world. Well, that seems like a useful one. Maybe I'm a little biased, but... Alright, Forever 20 Summers. Obviously we're reading it. My beloved seekers of knowledge, have you ever put learning before your health and neglected to feed and rest your body as you should? I, too, once engaged in such foolish practices, but one night engrossed in philosophical study, I had an epiphany. For all the world's mysteries that drive us to reckless abandon, we have so very few years of life in which to achieve our goals. Thus do I share with you this mantra: I am forever 20 summers young. The number itself is unimportant. You be 19, 23, or 40, whatever age you are when you discover this manual, let that be the age you aspire to remain. Through mindful, healthy living, will you extend the time available to spend upon your chosen research. Another day, another moon. When our time of the grass is greater truths you pursue. In the pages that follow, we will explore the secrets of maintaining one's physical condition from a biological, astrological, and arcane viewpoint. Focus on the wrong subject. Search for works which contain details on the form and origin of the history of Sharlayan. Fine. Alright, we got an introduction to the heavens. Have you ever gazed at the skies above and contemplated the mysteries contained therein? I speak not of shifting cloud patterns, but of the vastness beyond, of the sun and the twinkling tapestry of the night. Some think the dome above us to be a finite space, yet amongst the leading thinkers of our age, one scholar's depiction of a boundless sea of stars has firmly taken root. Alas, this heavenly sea remains an unreachable, unknowable destination. There are few indeed who can explain in satisfactory detail why our own star is believed to revolve around the sun. It was the technologists of Alec who came closest to understanding the laws which govern the starry abyss. It was why they launched Solomon, and then sought to expand beyond our earthbound existence. Having read of their ancient ambitions, I wonder, has your interest in this field of study waxed or waned? What if I were to tell you that the eternal constellations were arranged differently in the distant past, that their positions continue to shift almost imperceptibly but measurably as we journey into the future? Would it shock you to learn that the stars drift further and further apart, and it may indeed do so forever? Are you eager to learn more? So focus on the wrong subject. I don't know, it was kind of interesting. But fine, wrong subject. The voice of a growing city. In the years which followed the founding of Sharlayan, civic policy and other matters of import were decided at the Ecclesia, a public forum in which every citizen was eligible to speak. As the city's population grew, however, this format became increasingly impractical. A larger number of participants gave rise to ever longer debates, resulting in significant delays of vital resolutions. Various measures were introduced in an attempt to curtail protracted discussions. In the year 201 of the Sixth Astral Era, it was ultimately decreed that Sharlayan would transition to a new form of governance. The nation would now be led by a body of 99 members, citizens chosen from amongst their peers by means of a nationwide vote. Thus was the form as we know it today conceived and created. Well, I guess that was useful. Wait. Oh no. Okay. I'm like, wait, did I miss a book over there? No, we're good. We're good. Is this Rose's Old Colony? Story of Sharlayan. Well, that sounds important, so we're doing this one. Rose of Old Colony. Many years ago, on the banks of Thaliac in the Dravanian hinterlands, a Sharlayan colony once thrived. This settlement was originally established as a mere outpost to the ethereal sea in the year 1311 of the 6th Astral Era. Scholars dispatched to Eorzea found the facilities wanting, and their demands encouraged a gradual expansion in structures and services. As rumors spread of a growing community of academics, the area was further inundated with Eorzean students hoping to share in the renowned wisdom of the Sharlayans. 50 years later, the Forum passed a motion to recognize what had become a flourishing town as an official Sharlayan colony. Eorzean residents took to calling the colony itself Sharlayan, which led to no small amount of confusion when discussions turned to the subject of the motherland. In response, some Sharlayan inhabitants, if pressed for a name, would simply refer to it as Emporium. Following the Great Exodus, however, goblins and treasure hunters claimed for themselves a corner of the abandoned colony and gave it yet another name, Idleshire. This following chapter is going to introduce the most prominent features of Idleshire. It does not talk about the right history. The story of Sharlayan. Long, long ago, on an island in the Northern Sea, there lived a Rogadin man by the name of Neonkref. Neonkref was a student of astrology, and he divined that a flood of terrifying proportions would soon sweep over the lands of Eorzea. So it was that he built a gigantic ship, assembled a crew, and set sail for the imperiled realm. The flood arrived as foretold, and to their horror, the strangely churning waters drove the people towards the ocean. It was there, however, that Neonkref's crew hauled them aboard his ark, for the danger had not passed. A towering wave approached, threatening to smash the vessel to pieces. Following moments of despair, Neonkref wove a mighty spell of teleportation and shifted the entire ship to safety atop Abalthea's spine. Refugees from the surrounding regions huddled there alongside them, but was not long before disputes over dwindling supply of food led to violence and bloodshed. Saddened by the sight, Neonkref gathered to him his crews and his grateful passengers and abandoned the ark to these reddened peaks. They journeyed to the coast where they built a new ship, intent upon returning to the northern seas. They landed on the beach of an island and settled upon that very spot. That settlement prospered and grew, and in time became the city of Sharlayan we live in to this day. We have gained a fundamental understanding of Sharlayan history and the foundation of the Forum. Head outside to the rendezvous, appoint, and await your companions. I really should have gone to get that. It's fine. It's fine. All the time. Let's go meet our companions. Sorry, were you waiting long? Want to make sure I borrowed at least a few promising volumes. Alpha and Kryl should also be along shortly. I was delayed in similar fashion. As far as I could see, no titles in the Archon stacks mention the final day specifically, so we have no choice but to start with the tangentially relevant tomes, if they are even that. At present, the plan is to skim through as quickly as we dare and share our discoveries as we make them. It would have been nice to invite everyone to the estate. Plenty of comfortable places to read, a ready supply of hot tea. I was always quite fond of reading outside. But it's not about the little pleasures, is it? You miss your home. It's been difficult. After our arrival, we managed to speak with one of the family servants and ask how things were. It seems our dear father has instructed the staff that even if Alpha and I were to return to Sharlayan, we're not to be allowed across the threshold. A harsh measure indeed. I hope that our efforts to understand his position now the farm will perhaps lead to a reconciliation. We'll mend this rift one day. I'm certain of it. What of you, Graha? Have you been to visit your family? Or do they not live here in the city? Well, my situation is also somewhat complicated. I was raised in Sharlayan, yes, but I was born rather further away. In the southern reaches of Ilzabard, in fact. For generations, my people have dwelt in Corvos, the coastal region opposite the Isle of Thavner. The Allegans founded a city in that fertile land, and by ship brought in the subjugated tribes of the Mikote to serve as laborers. Of course, the massive earthquakes of the Fourth Umbral Calamity brought an end to the Empire's reign. When the Fifth Calamity froze the sea solid, Many of the tribes still living in Corvos braved the journey back to Eorzea. My ancestors, however, chose to remain. They might prevent the remnants of elegant technology from being misused. Isn't Corvos under Garlean rule? For the past 50 years, yes. Some semblance of local culture remains, as is the case for most imperial provinces, but Garlemald renamed the legion Locus Ammonius. Ammonius. When I was a boy, a nearby town came under jurisdiction of an illustrious imperial family, the nobles of House Darnus. House Darnus demonstrated a singular interest in elegant civilization, and so my tribe was forced to consider a plan of action. For some time already, voices had been raised in favor of abandoning our ancient customs. After all, the elegant eye no longer passed to our eldest children as reliably as it once had. Fear of discovery eventually tipped the scales, and the decision was made to bury our ties to the knowledge and traditions of Alec. As the last child born with the elegant eye, I was given over to the custody of friends and the students of Baldessian, who had me registered as a Sharlayan citizen. Never even considered. Forgive me, it was an unkind question. Even Thancred was taken in by Archon Louisois, was he not? Stories of adopted waifs and rescued orphans are far more common among Sharlayans than you might think. Yet regardless of our origins, we are all provided with an equal opportunity to learn, and with sufficient perspicacity, those outsiders can even learn the vaunted title of Archon. This is exactly why I have such love for this country, and why I wish it to remain a nation of which its citizens can be proud. Hear, hear! Another good reason to get to the bottom of the form's stubbornness, aside from the trifling matter of our impending doom. This gives us what we try to make some headway into these books, Arya. More company should be arriving any moment now. We've returned with our selections. Although I must say the pickings were quite slim indeed. Mistress Crowell has already flicked through every history book devoted to disasters, and more than a few which barely made mention of them. As such, we'll be looking into research papers on the Umbral calamities, as well as articles written by prominent forum members. Perhaps our knowledge of the final days comes from an unexpected source. Speaking of which, might I ask you a few questions related to the final days? I'm the only one here who didn't witness the events of Amarat firsthand, and fear I may be overlooking critical details. I got ya. My thanks. Now, where to begin? First things first, what kind of phenomenon did the ancients encounter as the final days drew nigh? Complete destabilization of creation magics. Yes, the unfolding catastrophe wrought havoc on all manner of life. The chaos extended to the ancients themselves, causing their powers of creation to spiral out of control. Fear and despair manifested in terrible, tangible fashion. Meteors raining from the sky, fire erupting from the ground, indescribable abominations prowling the streets. That more or less aligns with my understanding. If only the arts of creation had survived until the present day, we might have had something substantial to analyze. To the best of our knowledge, however, those techniques were not preserved or passed on. Ishtola surmises that the closest known magic is that of the summoning rituals promulgated by the Asians. Was there aught else of note which heralded the approach of the final days? They say it began with a keening sound from the land itself. Ah, yes, the Amarantians spoke of it, did it not? We never did hear the sound ourselves, of course, thus as we were into the midst of the madness. But it seems that each and every one of the catastrophes was preceded by this ominous noise, eventually resounded all across the star, and not even Amarat was spared. So the ground was crying out, you say. To be considered the harbinger of doom, it must have been quite distinctive, and probably quite loud. I'll have to speak with one of Nomanen's mammoths, and ask after any books which make mention of such a sound. Last but not least, would you describe how the ancients sought to quell this unprecedented calamity? What definite action did they take? Definitive. They summoned Zodiark. Yes, with Olympus serving as his heart, so many gave themselves in sacrifice to bring him into being. We do not know exactly how Zodiark brought salvation to the star, only that by his godlike will were the laws of nature set aright. Then, once the balance was redressed, the ancients offered up a further sacrifice to heal the ravages of the final days. Lives sprouted anew, and it was these fledgling souls they intended to render into Zodiark, a trade that would have allowed them to resurrect the shades of loved ones absorbed by the primal. Or might have, had Vina and her followers not manifested their opposition in the form of Heidelin. Thank you, both of you, for the detailed review. I feel much more confident now in my understanding of events. With all that freshly in mind, it does make me wonder what the Telophori truly mean when they speak of bringing back the final days. We've seen what they're doing with those towers of theirs. It's forcing people to summon primals as kind of catalyst. Are they attempting to mirror the conditions caused by unstable creation magics? Or are they simply using the final days as a figure of speech? A convenient metaphor for the scale of destruction they plan to unleash. This is all pointless conjecture at this stage. Let's return our attention to the forum, shall we? We should keep an eye out for Ishtola, but 'tis time we began studying these research papers. So, what do you all have to say right now? Many of our members are also researchers or professors. If they know aught of the final days, and that knowledge might surface in their writing. That is my hope, anyway. What else do I know of Corvus? Precious little, I'm afraid. I have not returned since Master Gallo first brought me here. I can tell you that Corvosi rebels still seek to slip the yoke of their imperial masters, though the fighting is far less fierce than it once was. Oh, and they have carpets! Flying carpets! The legends are quite extraordinary. There are others better suited to poring over old history books, so I thought I'd try my luck with more recent events. If I can find anything to better inform the forum's baffling behavior. And Kyle, what does it say? Really is comforting to have all these dedicated assistants on hand. Right then, enough chatting, more reading! Meanwhile, I'm just standing here, waiting, and waiting, and waiting. I'm the last one, am I? Well, my extended search of the Archon stacks produced one or two possibly useful books. I want to get your hopes up. If you recall, Urianger learned of the source's reflections from the Garen oracles. For its potential to cause panic and confusions, that tome was deemed Akrofa, sealed away in the Great Google Library. It's even less likely that knowledge of the uncentered world, not to mention the horrors of the final days, will be left sitting on the shelf for any curious scholar to find. It stands to reason then that my colleagues, be they archons or counselors, should perforce by largely ignorant of the subject. Blech. Yet when he confronted Master Fortuneau with knowledge of the Telophori and their machinations, he scoffed at the suggestion that they pose a threat. He seemed adamant that the forum would know if the final days were truly upon us. Which only supports the conclusion that whatever privileged wisdom is guiding the forum's behavior is being kept secret from the rest of the nation. Not that I mean to excuse myself from reading duty, whether they contain mention of the final days or no. These books could yet hold something of value. You weren't thinking of leaving, were you? There's plenty of work for everyone. I'm an adventurer. I punch things. I don't read. I've done lots of reading, but I mean, come on. Your labor feels like an age as this tool as research assistant. Oh dear, you look exhausted. What about your studies? Were you able to find any books on the subject I mentioned? Then the day that was well spent, should you wish to read them again, a man at the reference desk will point you in the right direction. For the moment, though, I suggest you take a well-deserved rest. We might be occupied with our research for quite some time. Oh, I'm sure it'll be fine. I just can't move because I'm trying to rub my eye. A seat at the last stand. Ready for a tea break, are you? I know I am. Honestly, my neck and shoulders are going to calcify if I don't stretch my legs and walk around a bit. You know, stand down in the harbor, don't you? Come and meet me out near the outside tables. I'll treat you to their coffee. It's quite good. Cool, an excuse to go get this shard finally. Alright, let's get the shard. Alright. You attend yourself to all the Ethernet shards in Old Sharlayan. Cool, cool. Let's head down here and head to the last stand. What was the other coffer I got? Hold on, where is it? Body. Okay, my body's 520. My weapon is 530. We're actually gonna use this footgear coffer because... Oh no. It's full. Shoot. Right, that's not in use, right? Decent. Oh no. My inventory's full. This was not planned. Alright, let's go ahead and equip those. That. Where? Oh, I haven't fixed it. So you can actually just go in here and I need the glamour plate. Where is it? Right, it's not gonna like the right one. There we go. Okay. Anyway, that was a little distraction. Let's go find Alizair. As busy as ever, I see. How very Sharlayan that no other gourmet cafe has sprung up to compete for customers. Actually, this crowd gives me an idea. Before we place an order, why don't we ask a few questions and gauge the mood of the city? Interested to hear what the average citizen has to say about the Talafroy. Might even learn something new. Worth a try, don't you think? Alizair is now accompanying you. Keep her at your side in order to proceed with quest objectives. You can leave Alizair behind, blah 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 blah. Is there a discussion point? No. Dang it, Alizair. Yes, I don't believe I've had the pleasure. Pray excuse the interruption, but we were hoping you might share your thoughts on the Talafroy and their inconscionable plan. My goodness, if it isn't young Miss Leveilleur! My apologies, but I work in opposites of the forum, and if word reached Master Fortune, know that I was helping you. Let's see, we're sorry to have bothered you. Well, great start. Great start. What? What is it? Can the man not enjoy a moment of private respite? If you're looking to share a table, then I respectfully request you look elsewhere. You must understand, sir. We are simply wondering if you knew the Talafroy. These enemies of peace have promised it as an end to all we hold dear, and... Wait, you're the House Leveilleur girl, aren't you? This woman with you is obviously a foreigner. I'd heard you were disowned for helping outsiders indulge their barbaric whims, and here you are giving truth to the rumor. Well, thank you, leave me be. I'm not to say to the likes of you. Well, I must apologize. It was foolish of me expecting ounce of civility from this one so enlightened. Come, Arya. Well, that didn't end well. Welcome madam. What can I offer you today? Also, how is I always play at night in the game? I mean, I get it when I play it IRL, but like in game, it's like always night. Wait, is that Mistress Alize I see there? My word, how long has it been? Far too long. Maid Dickon, the owner of the Last Stand, used to frequent his cafe on occasion in between lessons at the studio. That seems like an age ago now. I remember hearing that you and Master Alphino had set sail for Eorzea, but then you never came back. Lately, there's been gossip about your father disowning the pair of you. Everything alright at home? It is complicated. I hadn't expected complete strangers to be so familiar with our situation quite so quickly. Everyone has an opinion, it seems. Well, it is House Livier. No matter how discreet Master Fortuno may have been, news of your family's doings never stays secret for long. Things being what they are, what brings you back to the city now, of all times? We have questions and only Sharlayan has the answers. Tell me, Master Dickon, have you heard anything about an apocalypse called the Final Days? What? Like the end of the world? Nothing like that, I'm afraid. And what... And that's what you're here to find? Information on this apocalypse? Yes, whatever we can learn. Unfortunately, your patrons appear to be unwilling to speak with me. I wish there was more I could do to help. But maybe there is. You're a visitor to Sharlayan, aren't you? Then people know your face. We should be able to pass you off as a server with none the wiser. We just finished preparing a few orders. Strike up some friendly conversation while you're setting down the food, and you might just get the answers you're looking for. Not a bad idea. I hate to ask, but what do you think? I've done worse things. That's the spirit. Pay attention now, and I'll explain where each of these dishes needs to go. The tea stands for the chatty group sitting by the water's edge. The alma is for one of our regulars, a Highlander by the name of Gisla. She's sitting at an outside table with a friend of hers. Behind them, you should see a Mikote gentleman. He ordered the oven-baked lobster. But all that, if you're not sure, just ask and I'll explain again. Good luck! Well, good thing I have this thing called a chat log. So, anyway. They literally give us a specific order. So, this is gonna be... So, there's Gisla. So, this is gonna be the tea set. Tea set. Oh, my tea set! Lovely! Thank you. Talafa... Who? I'm sorry, I've never heard of them or their final days. My friends and I are somewhat uninformed when it comes to current events. Now, if you want to hear about ritual arcane practices of the 6th Astral Era, commonly known as esoteric, I'd be happy to talk your ears off. Also, I think the list is actually in order. Yeah, it is, so it doesn't matter. Ah, finally! 2, 4, 6, 8! Let's begin, no time to waste! What? The Telophorite? Yes! I remember seeing their name in the latest Gazette. That and some grand claim about the end of days. Some same old senseless warmongering. All these fools grow tired of spilling each other's blood. They say out of it, I say. The foreign made the right choice, and I fully support our decision to remain neutral. Her Hayden banter with a smile. It's the oven-baked lobster. You know, I'm like literally said, yeah. At last, the oven-baked lobster is mine. You have no idea how long I've scrimped and saved and suffered to afford this heavenly dish. Final days? This is the first I've heard of it. Well, that would explain why my friend's been rushed off his feet. It must be a busy time to be a gleaner. Huh? You don't know what a gleaner is? They're collectors of sort. Travel the world procuring things that we haven't got here in Sharlayan. Priceless books, unusual life specimens, and so forth. So named for those folk who trail after the reapers in the fields, picking up the every grain which was missed. By all accounts, gleaning is the most meticulous and demanding profession. If these Telophorite make good on their audacious threats, then many uncatalogued rarities could be lost forever. Why else would the gleaners be buzzing about in such a frenzy? Watch the harbor and you'll see what I mean. They're cutting loads in from the dock all day. It's never been detected before. Not like this. I guess maybe we got some information. Any trouble with the customers? Were you able to get anyone talking? Yeah? Interesting. They seem unaware of the final days, aside from whatever vague news the gazettes are printing. Even Dickon had nothing to offer, and he's the best source of gossip in the city. Forum does have secret knowledge, and they've done an impressive job of ensuring no one whispers it in the wrong ear. In any case, thank you for playing the part so well. Here, that cup of coffee I promised. But let's enjoy our drinks somewhere else, shall we? Maybe behind the peristyle, away from the gossips and their wagging tongues. Sure. So it's just gonna be back over by the hunts. Way back over here. Also, yeah, so if I just real quick, if I do check here, you can see literally, like, I've got a bunch of nuts from doing random hunts on here. And I could literally buy, like, this minion that I'm doing right now. Or these Diablo swings, which I'm also doing right now. Or this Orchestrion, which I'm also doing right now. Yeah, those things I just bought I could do. So Diablo swings are a personal effect. Orchestrion's Orchestrion. The cat is a cat. Let's actually get it out here real quick. Where the heck is it? There it is. So, personal effects real quick. Oh gosh, fashion accessories, I believe. Already had some parasols. Being like so. That was from a Rising event. And Diablo swings, like so. I believe I could actually just go talk to Alize right now. Yes, this should do nicely. Out of the wind, out of sight. And then they just vanish. So it's just like a reusable key item, so sorta. Now, if we could have talking cutscenes, that'd be great.
When our father disowned us, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It wasn't until much later that his words began to sink in, that I began to feel the weight of what it meant. Do you remember when the decision was made to come to Sharlayan? Grahas said that the Forum was determined to keep us in the dark, and that Father's venomous performance was part of that strategy, to keep us at arm's length. Perhaps it was. Father argued with Grandfather on many occasions, but never with such dismissive contempt. And when he demanded what justifies the sacrifices we make in war, I honestly didn't know what to say. Neither did Alpha know, I know, but never for one moment did I believe we had made the wrong choice. So all I could do was fume silently. It was only afterwards that I realized how childish I had been, how being stubborn and self-righteous must run in the family. If I could have just mustered a civil response, then things might have turned out differently. They must be ferrying goods to Labyrinthos. A vast complex beneath the island. Sharlayan is famous for archiving knowledge from around the world. Well, that knowledge is not preserved exclusively in dusty tomes and desiccated samples. Our living library, comprised of all manner of flora and fauna, is housed and studied within that underground facility. Still, that did seem to be an unusually large shipment. When I lived here, it was rare to even see such cargo transported by boat. Wait! Didn't you hear something in the last stand about the gleaners coming and going more than usual? Well, I think they're the ones we saw manning those boats. And gleaners answer to the Forum. If the appearance of the Telophoroi prompted this sudden burst of activity, then Labyrinthos may hold a clue as to what the Forum is planning.
Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun, the level up. Alright. And yeah, my wings are gone now, so whoopee. A labyrinthine descent. We should tell the others what we learned about the Gleaners. Go on ahead and Nomanen. I will join you in a moment. Master Dickon will want his cups back. Welcome back, Arya. Been for a walk and cleared your head, have you? Not exactly. We did some impromptu investigating and turned up information on the Gleaners. Makes sense. The Gleaners take their requests directly from the institutions of bureaucrats, and as you say, they ultimately answer to the Forum. And a sudden significant increase in Gleaner traffic and in cargo, it certainly gives the impression of an overarching plan being put into motion. Let us see what theory we can build from the facts. As Ishtola observed earlier, Nomanen's archives appear to contain no information concerning the final days. Coupled with what Arya and Alice learned at the last stand, we can be reasonably sure that most Sharlayans know nothing of that particular period of ancient history. Yet my father and his colleagues are not only familiar with the final days, but are somehow certain that the destruction being perpetrated by the Telophoroi is wholly unlike these apocalyptic events. Moreover, the Forum claims to be so occupied by a duty of such pressing importance that they saw fit to unanimously deny Eorzea's request for aid. And now the Gleaners, official agents of the state, have been mobilized on an unprecedented scale? I do not think it a stretch to conclude that the Gleaners' recent activities are in service to the Forum's secretive ends. In which case, our next course of action seems obvious. We visit Labyrinthos and assess the situation for ourselves. If we're lucky, the Gleaners will be far more receptive to our questions. Anything would be better than burying my head in another dusty book. I understand not everyone is a studious type, but consider this a welcome change of pace then. As for myself, there are a few more subjects I should like to research. I may join you later, but feel free to leave behind your borrowed books and be on your way. I'll see to it that each is returned to its proper place. That would be a great help. Thank you, Raha. Let's head down the stairs over there, and I'll show you where the entrance is. to do a follow, aren't we? I can just tell y'all where it is myself. Ready? Labyrinthos is not far from here, but you may find the path a bit disorientating. We'll take the lead, so stay close. Follow Alizé and try not to fall behind. Yeah, so this is actually a follow. And slash follow requires a valid target name. So even though I do D is not a valid target name, so you actually can't follow. This is another form of escort that they introduced in Endwalker. Yeah. I would rather show you. We really should move along. Guess I can remember what Alizé is saying. Is that I'm ranting about escorts and follow missions in Endwalker. Y'all better get used to it. I really hate them. Now we run. Try to keep up. Finally. I'm not moving my camera, okay? Keep to the path, straight ahead. You know, I could just taken the warp there and shown them. We crossed the ridge and shown everyone where it is about 2 minutes ago. Instead of this. So I'm moving. Up here. Yes, I'm already heading that way. So they expect you to stop. And welcome to what I said they could have done it about 5 minutes ago. We're gonna pass right by the... Let's see, where are you going? The Rostra. Not far now. Gosh, I'm gonna turn the camera. See? We're gonna pass right by the Aetherite. Aethernet. Not the Aetherite, the Aethernet. Shard. Yeah. Welcome to the hand-holding. Now. Here we are, through this door and down the stairs. You do remember to tune to the shard back there, didn't you? It'll make your life much easier if you need to come back in a hurry. Otherwise, we should keep moving. Yeah. Don't worry. I'm attuned, and I would have rather taken it than followed you. Yeah, you'll better get used to it. I really hate those. And they're way too prevalent. Still, we're speaking to the Loaf Operator. Let's speak with Kryl. We're all here now, yes. I've taken liberty securing permission for our group's descent. Right, everyone to the left and down we go.
Deep beneath the scholar's city shines a false sun within a fabricated sky. In any age exist those who consider the floor an extension of their bookshelves, and this vault's architects surely belonged to that special breed. If the stack grows too high, start a new one. If no room remains, then make more rooms. A simple solution at first, and then bit by bit, a profound transformation. Knowledge buried beneath knowledge, a growing, creeping labyrinth from which there is no escape.
Not what you expected. I must admit, the artifice is very convincing. But I assure you that we are beneath Sharlayan itself. The breeze you feel, the flowing waters you hear, all created by the hand of man.
The island is volcanic, you see. And once upon a time, this great hollow must have been a reservoir for magma. It was discovered some 400 years ago, at which point it was repurposed as a storage facility for scrolls and samples and such. Renovations have continued, with nigh or no interruption to this day, with the lower levels still undergoing expansion.
Aren't those people gleaners?
Aye, judging by their dress. They are said to work alone as a rule, but 'twould seem that rule is being enthusiastically broken today. It may be as you suspected, that they are engaged in a task apart from the norm.
Let's spread out and get some answers then.
Ugh.
Did you call to me just now? No. How odd. I must be a bit dizzy from the descent. I'll be fine, I'm sure. Let's get to work, shall we?
I say we gather information next time. I just wanted to get to Labyrinthos, okay? Okay, don't judge me, I want to get to Labyrinthos. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking, commenting, and or subscribing. If you really enjoyed it, consider supporting the channel. All support greatly helps you keep seeing content like this and more. You can find the links for that in the description, along with links to me on social media. So thank you again for watching, and until next time, this is rinimt signing out. Bye!